What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the latest episode of WWE The Day Of, focusing on Fastlane 2021. These episodes tend to usually be about the day of, obviously, of these pay-per-views, focusing on a variety of superstars, which is what the Elimination Chamber one was about a couple of weeks ago. This one specifically focused in on Sheamus, heading into his no-holds-barred match later on in the night against Drew McIntyre. And honestly, all these episodes are very, very good. I mean, I can point out a number of them that are fantastic. The Charlotte one, for example, was focused in on her specifically, which I think was for TLC a few months ago. This one was all about Sheamus, and I thought it was fan-fucking-tastic. He brought up a lot of great points. We got to see a different side of Sheamus at various points in this episode, and they recapped the history between him and Drew, really added another layer to that feud that we weren't seeing on TV. I thought this was great stuff, and the best part about it, it was only 13 minutes. Only 13 minutes. If you have the time, absolutely you should. You have 13 fucking minutes. Go watch this. This was really, really good. So, the first thing that we hear Sheamus say is this. He goes into how he thinks about how every show that he goes into, whether it be a Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view, he thinks to himself that he hasn't accomplished anything. He looks at it as every next match as his last match. He calls himself the MVP of the PC Thunderdome era, and honestly, it's hard to argue with that. You know, Bayley and Sasha have had standout performances inside both of those venues. Drew McIntyre's another one. I could probably think of a few more names. Obviously, the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley. Sheamus in the ring, though, nobody has been able to touch this guy in the ring since they've gone to the Thunderdome and the PC. He specifically mentions his matches with Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Riddle, Keith Lee, Drew just recently. Now Bobby Lashley, he doesn't mention those because those took place after this, but the matches with Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, I mean, he's had a lot of matches. John Morrison, The Miz, and he's killed it every fucking time. Every fucking time. So, anyway, he calls himself the most consistent performer, and it's hard to argue with that claim. He's always been very happy of Drew's success, and he recalls how Drew was called up right away when they were both signed at the very same time in 2007. He was called up immediately to the main roster. Didn't do too well. He was called back down to developmental. So when they first signed, Drew was in OVW, Sheamus was in FCW. Drew went from OVW to SmackDown, and then back down to developmental, but instead of going to OVW, which I'm not sure was still partnered with WWE at that point, he went to FCW with Sheamus. And those two had a bit of a run there together, which was cool. They both got called up at the same time in 2009, and that was around the time that Drew got called the Chosen One, blah, 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 and Sheamus went to ECW instead while Drew was on SmackDown. What they don't mention is that Sheamus went on to win multiple world championships while Drew was in the undercard, and his push got, cut short in 2010. He got fired. Sheamus was still there, and it's not like Sheamus has been completely underrated. I would still say he's underrated for the amount of credit or lack thereof that people give him. But in terms of, championships, the guy's done it all. So it's kind of hard to say that he's underrated in that respect because he has accomplished quite a bit. But he still feels like he's been underestimated since birth. And he says that it started with Drew 20 years ago. It's going to end with Drew at Fastlane. He doesn't think anyone can step up to his level. And he also feels that he does his best work when he's underappreciated. And he wants to take out all of his frustration that he has during his matches, which is why they're so hard-hitting and physical. But before the matches, he likes to take it easy, take a deep breath, stretch, stuff like that. He believes in himself now, he says, more than ever before currently. Now more than ever before. He feels great physically. He feels great mentally. He said he was 43 years old. I didn't double check that. I heard the number 43 and I'm thinking, holy shit, Sheamus is 43. He looks exactly the same now as he did 10 years ago. Honestly, he doesn't look a day over friggin' 30, 35 at least. 43 is crazy. I just can't believe that. But anyway, he feels he's on a roll right now, doesn't want an injury to end that roll and end his momentum. But he also wants to remind people how good he is in the ring. And we hear from Cesaro, who is the perfect person to interview for this thing. And Cesaro is not at Fastlane in the ring, but he was watching from afar while the Seth Rollins and Nakamura match was going on. But he calls Sheamus the ultimate competitor. And he's very proud that Sheamus is proud of what he represents, and he can't wait to watch the match from the sidelines. Sheamus says right before he's about to go out that he feels that he's in a position where they look at him as a utility guy to put other people over, make other people look good. He looks at this match, which people called pointless. What's the point of Fastlane? What's the point of this match with Drew? It's another opportunity for Sheamus to show he's not a utility guy. He is better than most of these people, and he deserves to be a main event player again. So they recapped the match, which was great. I never really thought Drew was going to lose, but the match itself was very enjoyable. They got a standing ovation backstage afterward, which was cool, including from Vince. You see Vince there congratulating Sheamus, which was cool. And he says that should have been the main event of WrestleMania. He belonged in the main event of WrestleMania instead of Drew. It should have been him and Bobby for the WWE Championship, or he should have been in there to make it a triple threat. He says to close this thing out that while everyone else is playing, he's fighting. And then we see him embraced by Cesaro, and Joseph Park is there too, or Chris Park, whatever. Did I say Joseph Park? Whatever. The fucking former Abyss from TNA. Chris Park is there too, congratulating Sheamus on a fucking good match, he said. And obviously, they bleep out fucking, but they show Sheamus and Cesaro embracing each other in a hug, and Sheamus just starts crying. He goes, "Oh, I love you, man. I love you, man. I miss you, blah, 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 blah." And Cesaro said, "Oh, I love and miss you too." Like, it was a very emotional, raw moment. I don't think I've ever seen Sheamus cry before. So that was something. But, this was great. Again, for a 13-minute special, kind of going behind the scenes of Sheamus' match with Drew McIntyre at Fastlane. This is well worth checking out. I already have a newfound respect for Sheamus over the last year and all the performances he's put in during the PC Thunderdome era. But after watching this, I have even more respect for him than I did previously, and that's saying something. This was great stuff. So check it out right now on the WWE Network and Peacock. I'm not sure if the network is still up and running for people by the time this video goes up. I'm going to assume not, but check it out on Peacock. It is available there, I'm pretty sure. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including hitting that bell button to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a very great week. Great weekend, folks. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Enjoy WrestleMania coming up very, very soon. I'm very excited for that. And speaking of which, real quick, be sure to check out all the other videos here on the channel, the WWE Day of Review, stuff like that. But specifically the interviews going up this upcoming week, heading into WrestleMania. There's going to be a lot of them, even more than usual, which is saying a lot. So check those out. And subscribe, like I said. You want to subscribe and be notified every time a new video goes up. Please help me reach 5,100 subscribers. That would be amazing. But yeah, once again, guys, have a great one. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.